When should you play bishop f5 or g6 in the Caro-Kann? Imagine you're setting up your pieces and trying to decide the best way to develop your bishop in the Caro-Kann defense. This choice can really shape how your game unfolds. So, when is it best to move your bishop to f5 or to g6? Let's break it down. In the classical variation of the Caro-Kann, after moves like one pawn move to e4, then c6, d4, and d5, you often see the bishop develop to f5 early. This move puts your bishop on a strong, active square along the h7 to b1 diagonal. It helps you control key central and queenside squares right from the start. Even if you lose a tiny bit of time attacking white's knight on e4, the bishop on f5 is well placed for both defending and launching counterattacks. It also helps you complete your development smoothly before pushing your kingside pawns. On the other hand, developing the bishop to g6 by fianchetto-ing it with moves like g6 and g7 is a different approach. This setup is less common but can be very effective in certain lines. It creates a more flexible and resilient kingside structure. The bishop on g7 exerts pressure along the long diagonal and controls many dark squares in the center. This setup is especially useful if you want to avoid early exchanges or if white's setup encourages a more defensive stance. Strategically, if you want to develop quickly and fight for control of the center, placing the bishop on f5 is usually the best move. It's a direct, active choice that supports your pieces and puts pressure on white's position. But if your plan is to build a solid, flexible defense and wait for white to commit, then fianchetto-ing with g6 and g7 can be smarter. It also pairs well with a pawn move like f6 later on, supporting the center and controlling the e5 square. Timing is key with the g6 setup. You want to play g6 only when it doesn't weaken your kingside or give white easy attacking chances. Sometimes you develop the bishop to f5 first and then later play g6 to reinforce it. This combination can be powerful if the position calls for it. For beginners, sticking with the f5 development is simpler and more natural. It helps you learn how to fight for the center early on. More experienced players might prefer the g6 setup when they want a more resilient, adaptable position that can shift gears based on white's moves. Remember, the decision depends on your overall strategy and the specific position on the board. If you want quick activity and central influence, go for bishop f5. If you prefer a more patient, flexible approach, then developing via g6 and g7 is a good choice. Both options have their place in the Caro-Kann, and understanding when to use each can really improve your game.